Hi, Karl de Leeuw here. World peace will start with Kashmir as its central location to demonstrate that Jesus is the focal point to unite the five main religions being Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity and Islam that make up 80% of humanity. Kashmir is on the northern tip of India and is partly controlled by India, Pakistan and China. So where these three countries meet is Kashmir. This makes it a heavily disputed piece of land. However, it is referred to as heaven on earth, and as I will explain, it is in my view the place where true world peace will start. Did you know that Moses was in Kashmir roughly 1,200 years before Christ? It is true. A Kashmiri travel agent and taxi driver took me there, and it's about 1.5 hours drive outside Srinagar, the capital of Kashmir. The locals swear that the shrine is to commemorate Moses being there in person. Others that visited Kashmir before me saw the Star of David in the local museum, but it was not there when I visited. Solomon is also credited with draining the valley of water in Kashmir. So for some reason there is a long-standing tradition of Jews being in Kashmir and surrounding areas. How this is possible will be discussed later on. The next hint at Jews possibly going to Kashmir from Palestine was when 10 out of the 12 tribes of the Kingdom of Israel were thrown out of their homeland. They are called the Lost Tribes of Israel, and this expulsion took place approximately 722 years before Christ. This is the same story as the musical Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, where Jacob had 12 sons and one of his sons, Joseph, was sold by his brothers to slavery. So all that is known is that 10 out of the 12 tribes went east, and today you have Kashmiri Jews. Is this a coincidence? Now we come to the exciting part. Jesus in India. In the Bible, there's just one verse of the last years of Jesus, aged 13 to 29, that says he gained wisdom. According to the Life of St Issa, is that Jesus went east from Nazareth. We must remember that Jesus is a very advanced soul, and even as a child he was already an adult mentally. As example, it is recorded that at age 12 Jesus had lengthy discussions with scholars in the temple. As the map shows, Jesus went east. Jesus travelled from Nazareth in present-day Israel to Damascus in present-day Syria, then to Baghdad in present-day Iraq, then to Kabul in present-day Afghanistan, then to Palitana, and then to Jagannath, that is in present-day Puri in India. It is here in Jagannath that Jesus was taught by Hindu scholars. At Jagganath Temple, now called Puri in present-day India, Jesus studied for 6 years under the direction of Hindu scholars. Not a lot is known about Jesus' 6 years there, and I call him the current head of the Advaita Hindu tradition, the 145th Shankaracharya, to now come forward and release the information of how Jesus was taught by Hindu scholars. From Jagannath, Jesus travelled first to Kapala Vista, where interestingly the Buddha grew up, and then to Lhasa in present-day Tibet. Tibet is now part of present-day China. Here in Lhasa, Jesus was taught by the Buddhist monks. As mentioned, here in Lhasa, Jesus was taught by the Buddhist monks for 6 years, and a Buddhist monk wrote down Jesus' story called the Life of St Issa, Issa being Jesus. Years later, another visiting Buddhist monk copied the Life of St Issa and took this copy to another monastery, which I will discuss shortly. The spiritual leader of the Buddhist monks is the Dalai Lama, and I call on the Dalai Lama to now release the Life of St Issa, detailing how Jesus was taught in Lhasa by Buddhist monks. From Lhasa in Tibet, Jesus travelled to Leh, to the Hemis Monastery that is about 1.5 hours drive outside Leh. It is here, outside Leh in the Hemis Monastery, that there is a copy of the Life of St Issa as made by the visiting monk in Lhasa. In the late 19th century, the Russian explorer Nicholas Notovich was shown the Life of St Issa scroll at the Hemis Monastery by the Buddhist monks. As mentioned, this is a copy of the original scroll made in Lhasa. Later Swami Abhedananda, Nicholas Lorich, Elizabeth Kaspari, and Gloria Gasquet also independently verified the existence of the scrolls. Many of the aforementioned wrote books about their findings. After Jesus' visit to the Hemis Monastery outside Leh, he travelled west via Rajputana, Kabul, Damascus, and at the age of 29, Jesus arrived back to Nazareth in present-day Israel. Now hold on to your seats, because if your trip so far has been interesting, then we're about to reveal even more. The reason why what will be revealed shortly is so important is because we need the truth. The truth will set us free, and the only way to world peace is if we remove the inconsistencies between the 5 main religions. In the Quran, chapter 4, verse 157, it says, "They declared, 'We have put to death the Messiah, Jesus, son of Mary, the messenger of the Creator. They did not kill him.'" So the Quran, that is the source document for Muslims, who account for just under 25% of humanity, clearly state that Jesus did not die on the cross. There is another document that says the same, that I will discuss next. As mentioned, further to the Quran, there is another document that states that Jesus did not die on the cross, the Talmud of Jmmanuel. The Talmud of Jmmanuel was found in 1963 by Billy Meier and Issa Rashid in the actual grave of Jesus. Jesus' real name was Jmmanuel, and Apostle Saul, also called Paul, changed Jesus' real name later on. I call on Billy Meier to release the original of the Talmud of Jmmanuel, but appreciate it has many risks. However, world peace outweighs all. The Talmud of Jmmanuel says that Jesus' grave had a secret entrance from which Jesus was removed after 3 days after being treated by men from India. When Pontius Pilatus' soldiers on the 3rd day saw that Jesus was gone from the grave, they ran back to the chief priests and elders of the council. The chief priests and elders gave the soldiers money and told the soldiers to tell all that Jesus' body had been stolen. After Jesus escaped the grave in Jerusalem, he went north to Damascus to hide. On the road to Damascus, Apostle Saul, also called Paul after his conversion, saw him and thought that Jesus was in spirit form. There was no incentive for Jesus to say he was alive, and all he wanted to do was to hide out in Damascus. Jesus then hid in Damascus for 2 years, where his mother Mary, his brother Thomas, and Judas Iscariot joined him just before they travelled east. The depiction of Judas Iscariot in the current New Testament of the Bible is not correct on the point that Judas Iscariot betrayed Jesus. Then Jesus went east with his mother Mary, his brother Thomas, and friend Judas Iscariot. According to the Talmud of Jmmanuel, Jesus preached in many countries on his way east, a journey which took about 2 years. On their travels east, however, Jesus' mother Mary passed away in Puri, which is in present-day Pakistan. As mentioned, Jesus' mother Mary passed away in Puri. Jesus was 38 at the time of his mother Mary's passing. The town where she died is named after Mary and called Puri, and is just outside Islamabad in Pakistan. After Jesus left Puri, he travelled around 100 kilometers to his final stop, being Srinagar, the capital of Kashmir. Jesus' final resting place was in the hills of Srinagar, Kashmir. Jesus married at the age of 45. He had numerous children and passed away age 115. Jesus' eldest son, on the instruction from Jesus, placed the Talmud of Jmmanuel in his real grave in Jerusalem. So Jesus' son travelled from Kashmir to Jerusalem after Jesus passed away. In 1963, Meier and Rashid discovered the Talmud of Jmmanuel in Jesus' real grave in Jerusalem. Rashid started translating the document from Aramaic into German, but tragically, religious lunatics killed him. As mentioned at the start of this documentary, I believe that true world peace will start with Kashmir because all 5 main religions have been there. The 5 main religions make up 80% of humanity. Let's go through the 5 main religions. Part of Kashmir is controlled by the Indian government with the Hindu majority. A lot of the names in Kashmir, therefore, have Hindu place names. As Leh and Tibet are close by, I understand from about 600 years before Christ, Kashmir had a rich Buddhist history. As discussed before, Kashmir also has a rich Jewish past in that Moses and other Jewish prophets visited there. Turning to Christianity, and as discussed according to the Talmud of Jmmanuel, Jesus passed away in Kashmir. This just leaves the last of the 5 main religions, Islam, and Kashmir currently has a population that is 96% Muslim. Kashmir is called heaven on earth, and as mentioned, in my view, it is the place where world peace will start, not because of its location, but due to its importance. It must be stressed that currently Kashmir has security issues and is almost the opposite of heaven on earth. So how do all 5 main religions link up here in Kashmir? Once Christians understand that Jesus was taught by the Hindu scholars and Buddhist monks, the Hindus, Buddhists and Christians will forget their past disagreements. Kashmir has a rich Jewish connection, and as Jesus passed away in Kashmir, this links Christianity with Judaism, plus Christians believe in the Old Testament biblical prophets that frequented Kashmir. Now we only have Muslims to pull in. Again, Kashmir's population is 96% Muslim, and Muslims believe in the New and Old Testament biblical prophets. So now we have all 5 main religions on the same page, and we can start world peace. It is critical that the documents mentioned before need to be carbon dated and released to the world. Otherwise, no one will believe that these documents are true. I again call on the present-day Shankaracharya to release information about the 6 years Jesus spent in Jagannath, now known as Puri in India. Again, I called on the Dalai Lama to release the Life of St Issa, which documents how Jesus was taught in Lhasa, Tibet by Buddhist monks for 6 years. And finally, I call on Billy Meier to release the Talmud of Jmmanuel. Billy Meier's group, Figo.org, says that they have not got the Talmud of Jmmanuel, but I'm told by the spirit world that this is not the case. It is important for all to know that these documents must be released so that world peace can start.